The POCO X7 and POCO X7 Pro have recently landed in the global market, and while the Pro version is better in most ways, the standard X7 has some tricks up its sleeve, so be sure to stick around. In their familiar looking boxes, you'll find the phones themselves, black silicon cases, charging cables, and their respective charging bricks. The standard X7 starts at $250 and the X7 Pro is just $50 more, so pricing is exactly the same as last year. It's crazy how prices have remained the same, considering that both of them have seen quite a few upgrades this year. The POCO X7 comes in green, silver, and black, and it looks just like the Redmi Note 14 Pro since it's pretty much the exact same phone but cheaper, and the POCO X7 Pro comes in green, black, and yellow with a very welcomed new design. There's also an X7 Pro Iron Man edition, but it's not available in the UK. I have the silver X7 and yellow X7 Pro. The silver and green X7 and the black and silver X7 Pro have plastic backs, while the black X7 and yellow X7 Pro use vegan leather. I really like how the leather X7 Pro has gold trimming around its cameras, along with a gold finished power button. The matte side rails are a nice touch too. This is pretty much the same with the standard X7 if you pick up the leather variant. The leather options are a bit thicker and heavier than the plastic colors, and while the X7 Pro is heavier than the X7, the Pro is actually thinner. I really like the flat squared off frames of the Pro, but both models' frames are made of plastic. That said, in my opinion, the X7 Pro has a much better overall design. They both have an IP68 certification this year, but the standard X7 uses Gorilla Glass Victus 2 for screen protection, while the X7 Pro has Gorilla Glass 7i, which is honestly a bit strange. I feel that the more expensive model should certainly have the better screen protection. In typical mid-range Xiaomi fashion, their always-on displays aren't always on and only show for 10 seconds. But they both have very good screens, with both of them using 12-bit 6.67-inch AMOLED panels, though the X7 is curved and the Pro is completely flat. They have the exact same 1.5K resolutions, but the X7 Pro is a bit brighter, coming in at a peak of 3200 nits. They also both have 1920Hz PWM dimming, 120Hz refresh rates, 480Hz touch sampling rates, and two 560Hz instant touch sampling rates. So yes, the X7 Pro is slightly brighter, but the main difference here is that the X7 has curved edges while the Pro is completely flat. I prefer flat panels, but at the end of the day, it's all about your own personal preference. They both have NFC and 5G, but for some weird reason, only the standard X7 has eSIM support, and only the X7 Pro has the latest HyperOS 2 software skin, which is layered over Android 15. The vanilla X7 ships with HyperOS 1 skinned over Android 14, so I guess you'll have to wait for the updates if you purchase the cheaper model. HyperOS 2 looks identical to the first version though, but visuals have improved. Animations are a bit different, and it benefits from a few extra AI services. The only thing that really bugs me about HyperOS 2 is that there's only standard and dense options for the home screen layout. Standard is 4x7 icons instead of 4x6, and dense is 5x9 instead of 5x6. I prefer 5 icons across, but if you go for dense, then everything is squashed together. Circle to search will come soon, but at least both of them still have Google Discover, and they both make use of Google Gemini and Gemini Live.
Hi, I'm Gemini. We're about to go live, where you can explore complex topics or ideas just by talking. Hi, I'm Gemini. We're about to go live, where you can explore complex topics or ideas just by talking.
The X7 has a similar sized battery as last year, coming in at 5110 mAh, but its wire charging speeds have dropped down to 45 watts. The X7 Pro, on the other hand, has a much larger battery this year, coming in at a whopping 6000 mAh, and its wire charging speeds have actually increased all the way up to 90 watts. That's flagship level stuff right there. The X7 Pro is also on another level when it comes to cooling, as it is the only one here that makes use of a proper liquid-cooled vapor chamber cooling system with a cooling pump. It kinda needs it though, considering it pushes out a lot more power. The Pro model has LPDDR5X RAM instead of the standard X7's LPDDR4X RAM, and it also has flagship UFS 4.0 storage instead of UFS 2.2. They both have 4nm chipsets, but the X7 Pro has a flagship level Dimensity 8400 Ultra CPU, which has an all-big core design and pushes out 3.25 GHz speeds. The vanilla X7 still has a decent 7300 Ultra chip though, but it can only reach 2.5 GHz. This translates to almost 1 million more points in Antutu and gets much higher scores across multiple different benchmark tests. So the X7 Pro is certainly the one to go for if you're a gamer. Those benchmark scores are almost flagship level, but when it comes to cameras, they have identical sensors. Their selfie cameras have been upgraded to the same 20 megapixel sensors. Their main cameras have seen the biggest upgrade, with both of them using the same 50 megapixel IMX882 sensors with OIS. They both have 8 megapixel ultra wide cameras, but only the vanilla X7 retains its 2 megapixel macro camera. And since the X7 Pro doesn't even have a macro mode, the standard X7 looks way better here. But when it comes to ultra wide cameras, the X7 Pro tends to use a better sensor. Taking native 50 megapixel photos with their mains has me once again favoring the Pro, probably due to better post-processing. And it's the same case when binning them down, with the Pro offering more balance and better dynamic range. It also offers more detail at 2x digital zoom, and the same goes for 5x, and even 10x zoom. But for some reason, only the X7 can zoom up to 20x. The Pro also takes better portrait photos aside from edge detection, and even though they use the same selfie sensors, only the standard X7 gets a wider field of view. It also tends to capture more detail of my face. The X7 Pro looks like a bit of a cutout when set to portrait mode, but I prefer it over the standard X7 when it comes to taking snaps at night. That is until you enable portrait mode. Taking ultra wide photos at night has the Pro stand out more, and it's not even a competition when it comes to main camera photos, though the X7 Pro does seem to oversaturate things a bit too much. 5x zoom comes out much more detailed on the Pro, and it's the same case when zooming in by 10x. But again, only the vanilla X7 can reach 20x. Ultra wide video looks a lot more natural on the Pro, but they both take decent ultra wide video anyway, aside from them both limiting resolution to 1080p. The Pro does however take better main camera video, and while they can both shoot main video at 4K resolution, only the Pro offers it at 60 FPS. It's also the only one of the two that offers portrait video when using its main camera, though its tonal range is quite a bit off. This follows suit with its selfie camera, as only the Pro model offers selfie portrait video, and its tonal range and edge detection is actually surprisingly good. The POCO X7 and X7 Pro unfortunately both limit selfie video to 1080p resolution, and for some weird reason only the standard X7 gives you an option for 60 FPS. Neither of them can do 4K, nevertheless let me know your thoughts on their video and microphone performance. So it's a bit odd that only the standard X7 supports 60 FPS selfie video, but when it comes to recording selfie video at night, neither of them seem to know what they're doing in terms of lighting and color. Their ultra-wide sensors aren't perfect when it comes to recording video at night, but the X7 Pro certainly seems to expose things a bit better. And the Pro model takes significantly better main video at night, since it's the only one here with a night mode video option. So while the X7 Pro does take better photos and videos thanks to better post-processing, the X7 is the only one here that can shoot macro photos, 20x zooms, and 60 FPS selfie video. The POCO X7 is cheaper, but I feel that the extra $50 is worth it for the X7 Pro. Yes, the vanilla X7 has better screen protection, eSIM support, and a macro sensor, but the Pro has a better design, a brighter display which is not curved, newer software with more features, a much larger battery with faster charging, a better cooling system, and a much better CPU, which leads to better overall performance and better camera post-processing. It just really bothers me that the non-Pro model does a few things better. In my opinion, the Pro model should pack in everything the base model has and then some. As always, this is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.